Hello fellow YouTubers, I'd like to welcome you to Young Martin's Reels, and today's project is going to be none. I'm getting ready to leave on a cruise, so I wanted to give you a quick preview of what's going to be coming up when I get back from my cruise. So I'll be gone for a little while, and hopefully you guys will hang around and wait for me to come back. All right, one of the first things some of you saw earlier this week when I did the video on the grease versus oil being used on the main shaft. I did this Cardinal 556 a while back, and I had been putting off this Sportfisher because to me, these two looked like practically the same reel. I just felt that when I got it open, I was going to find that they were entirely the same. And that is not true at all. They physically look the same, but everything in them, as far as how things are put together, is different. So I'll be doing this Sportfisher 450. It's coming up. It's a Walmart brand, Kmart brand, I think it is, and it needs a little TLC. And this one's probably going to get a repaint. It's got some rather serious road rash in a few places, some corrosion taken over, and so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this one all the way down and do a full repaint rebuild on this one. Okay. Also arriving this week, I managed to get this Shakespeare 1700, and I haven't done one of these before, and this one is in really good shape. The paint is a little beat up on the cover, but aside from that, this thing, it works like a charm. Everything about it seems to be perfect, except for a little bit of paint loss. The anti-reverse works. The clicker in it works. This one's going to be fun to do, and it's going to be going up on my rack with all those other Shakespeare reels that I've done in the past. I like these reels. They're just, I've never fished with one, but I just like the way they're made. Okay, next is going to be a group of reels, and I wanted to, this is something I want to talk to you guys about, is, well, we'll leave this guy for last, I think. When you purchase reels off of eBay or anywhere else, and you can't put your hands on them, even though the write-up may say works, you know, performs as it should, all that, even though it says all that, it doesn't necessarily make it true. And Chris Jenkins is pretty good about getting them to make good on those things. Me, I typically try to just tear them down and rebuild them. This Mudville reel, it's actually a Southbend Mudville Catmaster, not Castmaster, but Catmaster. It says in catfishing. And when I got this one, well, first off, if you look, the spool is sitting too low, or sorry, sitting too high, because the line has been feeding down towards the bottom. I pulled off the one and only spacer that it had, and hopefully that will take care of that. I won't know until I've run line off and back on it again. But the other problem that it had was there was no trip for the bail. When you wound it, nothing happened. It just sat where it was. There was no change. I have since fixed that, and what it was, inside here, we're going to take it apart when I go to do this reel. Inside here, you've got the block and the spring that fits down inside the block, and there's supposed to be a little hook mechanism piece that's supposed to hook onto this. It wasn't there. It was missing. So I had to create that piece, and the spring was kind of mangled a little bit, so I kind of stretched it out. I may end up making a new spring for this, because if you look, if you lift up on it, see, it doesn't want to push back all the way. It does if it gets the momentum going, but then it just doesn't seem to want to go quite all the way. So I'm thinking about making a new spring for it, and maybe remaking that arm one more time to see if I can get it. You don't want to spend too much time and effort on this reel. It's a $15 reel, so I've got it working. It would work just fine for anybody who wants to take it out, but I'd like to see a little bit snappier snap to the bail when it trips. Right now it's going all the way, but I think with time it's going to end up not doing so well. So I'm thinking about changing the spring to just one size heavier on the wire and making one to go in there and see how it works. But for now. That's going to be one of the upcoming reels. The next one in that group that I bought was this Daiwa GS6. Chris and I had discussed me buying this reel, and when I got this reel, you hear the whine. There was none of that, and no matter which position the anti-reverse override was in, it still did the override. Well, I have since fixed that. I've got that up and running again. I fixed the anti-reverse, but it still needs a little bit of TLC. One of the things, I believe that this one, if you look at the, let's flip this over. If you look at the rotor on this, can you see where the corrosion has been getting hold of it? And if you look at the feet on it, see the corrosion on them? This one is most likely going to be a repaint. Even though I have everything up and running nicely now, I haven't cleaned it. All I did was fix that anti-reverse. I wanted to leave it like it was for the video. So yeah, see, we got corrosion here, 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 here. So I think this is going to be a repaint like I did on the GS90. You know, if somebody kept it in the closet all those years, it did fine, but aside from that, not so good. So just because something looks okay on eBay doesn't necessarily mean it is. And sometimes you may get one that you can't do a fix on. This one I was able to fix. What had happened, and I'm not going to pull it apart to get down to it on here. I will discuss it later when I do the video. But the anti-reverse claw that was in there, it's got the squeeze pinch mechanism on it. And the reason they do that is to allow this thing to have an anti-reverse that doesn't make noise. Okay. However, it still makes noise. And I thought about taking that out and fixing it like I did the GS90, adding a new spring. And so instead of having to squeeze over, it uses something else. But no, I think I'm going to leave it as is and try to put it all back as original as possible. But I think it is going to get a repaint because it's looking a little rough. All right. Next in that group, now that's the only two reels that were broken in that. Now, this little Daiwa Minicast-2 works flawlessly. Anti-reverse override works. Everything on it works. It is sluggish because the grease in it has gotten old. So we'll be doing a rebuild on this one. Okay. And finally, this is one that Chris told me was going to be a great reel, and I don't really see that where I think it's that great a reel. It's okay. It's got features that I don't care for. One of them being when you flip the bail, the only way to get the bail to flip back down is to either physically take a fingernail or something and pull down on it like that, or to rotate the bail. And that feature right there was the one reason that I quit using the Mitchell 300s. I don't want to have to crank the bail to make it go. Anyway, this reel is a Spinmaster Pro Series III ball bearing reel, and it's perfectly functional. Everything on it works as it's supposed to. There's your anti-reverse override. There's your anti-reverse. Okay, you got your drag. It's a little gummy, so definitely needs to be taken apart and cleaned. Turns nicely. It's a good reel, but again, this is one of those reels that has suffered from exposure to probably salt water, and it's gotten up underneath the paint. So this one is going to be a repaint, I believe. I'm hoping this badge is removable. If not, I'll have to blast around it and then mask it off to keep it like it should be. But it's a nice reel. It just, I don't like that feature of not being able to flip the bail without having to turn the handle. So with time, we'll see how that works out. I like the curvature of the handle. It's got style. It's a good looking reel. Yeah, it will be when it's repainted. This is I don't know if you can see it very well, but it is a green, and we're going to be putting it back as close to that green as I can get it. But that's going to be hard for me to match up with a rattle can. It's a really, really dark green. What I may have to do is paint it black first and then paint the green over it, try to darken the green. So I haven't tried to take this apart. I'm assuming that this is just going to be, yep, we're just reverse wind on the handle. So it's going to be a nice reel. If you look under here, it's actually got very nice mechanism for the trip. See the mechanism down here? That's really nice. The way it's made when you flip the veil. If you watch that carefully, you'll see it will hit right there. When it gets to that point, it will trip. There it goes and pops back up. So these are the reels that are going to be coming up. I will be heading off on this cruise in the morning, and hopefully I won't get sick or anything on the cruise. I'm going to give it a shot. This is my first cruise, so you guys wish me luck. I don't think fishing is going to be involved in any way, shape, or form with this trip. So for now, that's Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.